All right, I want to go ahead and give you a couple of examples of how we can convert between different units. And so for my example, I have this problem. It says how many seconds are in 1 hour? And so I could do that just by thinking about it. And I could say, okay, so in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. And in 1 hour, there's 60 minutes. So if I take 60 times 60, that'll give me my total number of seconds. But what I'm going to show you is how to do it with this box conversion method. And this is just a way that we can keep track of our units and make sure we're doing things properly. We're multiplying when we should multiply and dividing when we should divide. So let me show you how this works. I'm basically going to start with one big division problem, essentially. And I'm going to have a couple steps in there. So if I want to start with 1 hour, and I want to convert that into seconds, what I can do is multiply 1 hour by something specific. And that something is just technically going to be 1. So I'm not going to change the problem at all. What I want to do is I want the hours to cancel with something. So if I have hours on top and hours on bottom, they cancel. And I can convert that in between. And I know the fact that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So technically, when I'm doing this, I'm not just multiplying this by any random number. I'm picking this number because these two things are equal. So technically, I'm multiplying it by 1, if you think about it. All I'm doing, though, is changing my units. So in this case, I'm left with minutes. And I also want to convert minutes, finally, to seconds. And we know, we just said, 1 minute is 60 seconds. So then minutes cancel again. And we're left with our final unit that we're looking for of seconds. Now, to figure this out, to finalize it, what we do with this problem is we multiply it by everything on the top and divide by everything on the bottom. So I'm going to ignore the ones because if you multiply or divide by 1, it doesn't change the problem at all. It's just going to be the same thing. So I'm going to ignore them for the sake of this. And so if I do this, I'm just going to do 60 times 60. And we get our answer of 3,600 seconds. So let me show you that in a couple other problems. And I have some that are a little bit tougher because they take a couple more steps than we just saw. So if I wanted to say, let's convert kilometers per hour to meters per second, we can do that too. It just takes more steps. So let's start by getting kilometers. Let's cancel out the kilometers and make it into meters. So I happen to know that there's a relationship between these two. I know by the definition of what a kilometer is, it's 1,000 meters, because kilo means 1,000. So with that, my kilometers would cancel, and I'm left with meters on top, which is what I want. And then I can change hours to seconds, and we just done and did that. We just knew how many there are, but we'll go ahead and do it the long way too. If I want hours to cancel, I need hours on top, and I can go hours to minutes. And remember, 60 minutes in an hour, so technically our hours canceled out. And then let's cancel out our minutes. Got minutes on top, and let's change that to seconds, because we know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. And so we can see all our units canceled out. We're left with meters on top, seconds on the bottom, and that's what we want. So if we go ahead and just type in our multiplication and division stuff in the calculator, if I do 80 times 1,000 divided by 60 divided by 60, and we get the answer of 22.2 repeating. All right, and that's meters per second. Let's do another one. So if I have 500 kilometers per day, how many meters per second is that? So again, we can convert. I'm going to start with getting rid of these kilometers and making it meters. And that's the same step as we had last time. So we know 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. And again, I can do this. I can write these because these are equal to each other. These are equivalent. So it's like I'm multiplying the problem by 1 essentially, but I'm just changing the units. Okay? So our kilometers cancel. We're left with meters on the top, which is what we want. And then I need to do days to seconds. And I have no idea how many seconds are in a day. So this is why this is important to take the time to do these steps. But I do know, for example, I want days on the top because I want them to cancel. I do know how many hours are in a day. And then I can go how we did before. Then I can go from hours to minutes. And I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. And by the way, all of these things have canceled so far. And then I can go minutes to seconds. And minutes would cancel. 1 minute is 60 seconds. So we're left with seconds on the bottom. And that's what we want, meters over seconds. And then, so to solve it, we're going to type this in the calculator. We're multiplying by everything on the top, so 500 times 1,000. And then we're going to divide by everything on the bottom. Divide by 24, divide by 60, and divide by 60 again. And I'm left with 5.787. And it looks like that number is going to start repeating. So I'm going to round it right there, just leave it like that. And so there's our answer. Okay, we'll do one more. And this one's actually pretty simple. There's only really one step. But it shows up because we didn't start with anything in the first box. I want to show you where we get that from. So the 65 miles per hour, that rate is technically written like this: 65 miles divided by 1 hour. So 65 miles per 1 hour. And so in 1 hour, you would have traveled 65 miles. That's what that means. Now, we can convert this, and we already got hours on the bottom, and we can leave that. So that one's good to go. Miles, we want to get rid of and change to kilometers. And it just so happens that I put this hint here that we have miles to kilometers. So I want miles on the bottom so it will cancel, and put kilometers on the top. And my hint says 1 mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers. So that's helpful. Miles would cancel out, and we're left with kilometers on the top and hours on the bottom, so kilometers per hour. And if we go ahead and type that in, we got 65 times 1.609. We get an answer, and I'm going to round this up to 105. So 105 kilometers per hour. And you can see why this might be important, because if you were to travel from the United States to Canada, we here in the United States use miles per hour. Canada uses kilometers per hour. So if you're driving and you're accustomed to using miles per hour on your car, and the speed limit says don't go over, let's say, 70 kilometers per hour. If you're just reading the number, you might think you're going below the speed limit, but really you're going way over the speed limit. Okay, so that's why this can be important to know what the conversions are. Okay, I hope that helped.